Dear Mom and Dad, I no longer fear hell because I've been to Camp Krusty.
Hi there, and welcome to Baseball by Design. I am SportsLogos.net minor league baseball correspondent Paul Caputo, broadcasting live, as always, from the Sunday Helmet Hall of Fame in my basement in Fort Collins, Colorado.
And I am Dan Simon, broadcasting live from the Studio Simon headquarters at historic Bowman Field in beautiful Louisville, Kentucky.
Dan, we are going to Springfield, Missouri today, and listeners of this podcast may be surprised to hear that because we have never featured a team that is named for its parent club as the Springfield Cardinals are. We're not talking about the Springfield Cardinals, though, Dan. We are talking about an alternate identity for the Cardinals, the Ozarks Snipe Hunters. Dan, are you a camper?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I was in the Explorers Club in high school, and we camped. But, man, give me a hotel bed and a restaurant and, something to sleep on that doesn't have rocks underneath it, and I'm very happy.
And likewise, when I was a wee lad, I went to summer camp several years, and we didn't call it summer camp back then. We called it sleepaway camp. And I guess to differentiate from, you can still go to summer camp that's local and you sleep in your own bed.
Sure.
But we slept in bunks, not tented bunks, like little cabins kind of.
Yeah.
But I remember at least once we went camping and slept outside, not even in tents, under the stars.
Yeah.
I remember doing that once, and it was fine when I was a kid, but no way would I want to do that today. I get it. Camping can be great, but I echo your sentiments of a hotel bed and restaurant and all of that.
Well, and I live in Colorado where, that is just considered recreation, right? Like you on a Friday afternoon, you pack up all your stuff and you drive up into the mountains and you find a spot to set up your tent, and then, you go hiking and you fishing or whatever, and it's beautiful, right? Like, and it's fresh air, and I'm sure that the nature is very soothing.
Yep, so much so that Colorado even had a minor league baseball team whose brand identity centered on the whole theme of camping.
They were going to be the Happy Campers before they were the Vibes. That was actually going to be their name. So
Yep.
I did have one notable camping experience that I really enjoyed, where some buddies and I hiked to the bottom of the Grand Canyon and we brought sleeping bags, and then we just slept out under the stars, and, we're at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. But that's sort of like an iconic experience. It's not something that I'm just going to like seek out to do on a weekend. So not my thing. It is Ranger Amy's thing. Ranger Amy loves camping. But to me, like, I also don't want to spend my whole Sunday afternoon cleaning up all the camping gear and putting everything away, right? Like, give me a beer and a baseball game, and I'll be happy. But anyway, Dan, I guess maybe you and I are then the two least qualified people to comment on this Ozarks Snipe Hunters identity. So we're going to bring on two people, Dan, who are qualified to talk about camping and this Snipe Hunters alternate identity from the Springfield Cardinals. That's Dan Ryder, who is the general manager with the team. And then outdoor enthusiast and notable wildlife ranger, the wildlife correspondent for Baseball by Design, Ranger Amy, will also be on this episode. And then, Dan, you will be back with a Studio Simon Stumper.
As always.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Hey, welcome to Baseball by Design, Dan Ryder, who is the general manager for the Springfield Cardinals. Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Paul. How about you today?
I am doing really well because I get to talk about minor league baseball. It's just one of my favorite things in the whole world. I love it so much. And so I appreciate you hopping on to chat about this really fun new alternate brand that the Cardinals unveiled not too long ago. You're wearing the jersey right now. It's an audio-only podcast, so people can't tell, but you're wearing the Ozarks Snipe Hunters jersey. I have so many questions. This is a ton of fun. I'm going to pull way back. What is a snipe hunter?
I think when you start talking about it, it's all about the mythical creatures and lore. And I think when we started coming up with what we wanted to do with an identity, minor league baseball is so fantastic about being tongue in cheek. And I think that it starts with that idea of it's a tongue in cheek reality. And that's what we wanted to go for. And when we we're comparing the different ways. I would also remind people listening that you have to talk about snipe hunting like you would talk about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. So I will be very careful in my word selection when discussing snipe hunting. I will tell you what it is not. So
Okay.
there is a snipe bird that people do hunt for, that when you look up, there's a snipe. And one of our players, he is a hunter, and that's what he thought it was based on that type of snipe. So it is not the bird that people do actually go snipe hunt for. So I can clarify that.
The brand features a character. Is the character Uncle Clyde? You guys mentioned Uncle Clyde in or is Uncle Clyde the mythical figure?
No, Uncle Clyde is the figure that we have on the logos and on the jerseys,
Okay.
and we wanted him to look like an Ozarks mountain man. And
Okay.
he's a hunter, he's a fisherman. He likes to be in the great outdoors, and he's not afraid to go out and hunt. And when you think about the snipe hunter, the fun part about it is that we're called the snipe hunters, but really the fun is about the snipe hunt. And I've got two boys that are 10 and 7, and I have not yet taken them snipe hunting. But the more we keep talking about the alternate identity and the jerseys, I have two boys begging me to go on a snipe hunt,
Huh.
which obviously that's what we were hoping to get to with this, is another way to pass along one of those, campfire stories to a younger generation.
All right. So, Dan, I don't know if I'm violating the principles that you've set forth here for this interview. So let me know if there's anything that I need to bleep out here. But for those who are not in the know, for those who didn't get to go camping as kids, I went camping as a kid. Went all through high school. I was involved in camping groups. It is something of a practical joke where newbie campers are essentially sent off on a fool's errand to go hunting for something that may or may not actually exist. How did I do? Did I do okay, Dan? Am I
You did
ruining
pretty
this?
good.
All right.
I'll let you describe that very well. And when you go snipe hunting, when you're out looking for this mythical creature,
Yeah.
it involves having a flashlight, because you
Yeah.
have to be able to spot them down and kind of blind them. You're going to have either a pillowcase or a
Yeah.
gunny sack or some sort of bag, and you're going to have either a stick. And in our case, we say it's a mini bat. A
Yeah.
mini bat can work for your stick.
Yeah.
And you kind of make this noise and try to flash the lights to then scare them into the bag.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the snipe hunt. And kids are out looking for this, trying to figure out where it is by making noise and hooping and hollering. And while the kids are going one direction for the snipe, usually the people who took them, the adults, are laughing as they go the other direction. So it's I'm not sure anyone has ever actually caught a snipe on a snipe
Yeah.
hunt, but it doesn't mean they're not still trying.
Well, the version of the myth that you told on the website is one where Uncle Clyde thinks that he has gotten the snipe, and somehow the snipe wriggles free or disappears from the bag by the time he can open it back up. In the logo, he's got what appears to me to be a pillowcase. It's got something in it, and something looks like it's fighting pretty hard in that bag. What's in the bag that Uncle Clyde is holding there in that logo?
Can't quite be sure in year one. Maybe that'll be a year 2. Maybe that'll be a year 3. But I think that's also part of the fun, and not just the idea of teaching people what a snipe hunt is, but also in the way that we've kind of geared the logo and the kind of way we've geared the different paraphernalia around it, is to be able to have some mystery. And one of the things that people have noticed is what you pointed out, is you see the bag with something in it, but you can't see what's inside. And that's very purposeful. But number 2, you do see eyes in the logo. And when you see that set of eyes, that set of eyes is something that we've had multiple comments from people like, man, those eyes in the logo look really, really cool. And that's something when we worked, it's a small detail, but that's something when we were designing it, we went through so many versions of what should the eyes look like. Should there be different colorings of the eyes? Where should they be? Should they be subtle? Should they be prominent? And really, we knew that the quote unquote creature in the bag and those eyes were important to create that level of realism to keep engaging young kids on why they wanted to go snipe hunting.
Are you guys going to have like a snipe hunt activity at the ballpark? Are you going to send kids out with mini bats and pillowcases?
We absolutely have, and we absolutely will continue. We did on Saturday night when we debuted at our Saturday debut, we did do a post-game snipe hunt, and we allowed kids on the field. We took our LED lights and we dimmed them and kind of had a green coloring. Our mascots, Louie and Fetch, were out on the field. They had their Snipe Hunters mini bat, they had their pillowcase, and they were trying to find the snipe on the field. And you saw kids with flashlights running around with the mascots, seeing if they could capture the snipe on the field. Shocking to the kids, they never did find the snipe that was down there. But I think the activity of trying to hunt snipe on the field with the mascots was very well received. And so I think as we continue growing that Ozarks Snipe Hunters brand, I think that type of fun activity with kids will continue to be in the quote unquote brand kit.
Now, in the true spirit of a snipe hunt, I'm hoping while all those kids were out on the field trying to hunt down the snipe, the parents were in the stand still with a beverage, maybe, enjoying a moment of peace and quiet.
Well, my kids weren't there, but I was in the stands and I was still enjoying it. And that's, I think, a part of the snipe hunt has been passing down word of mouth in generations. And, my boss, when he heard the idea of Ozark Snipe Hunters, he just started laughing because him and all of his cousins had all gone on snipe hunts with their uncles. My wife's family, they were all from Nebraska, and her and all of her cousins, they had all been on snipe hunts with their family. So I think there's a group of people. Some people have no idea what a snipe hunt is.
Yeah.
Some people, they lived it, they love it. It's a part of their youth that they pass on to others, that they look on so fondly. And there's others that think the snipe is the real bird. And we had one of our players, he was ready to go tell me about, well, where can I go snipe hunting? Let's go get a gun and let's go. It's like, well, it's not that type of hunt. But really, when we were coming up with this one, this is only our second ever alternate identity. And I think a part of the story about the Ozark Snipe Hunters is that it's the second one. Yeah. And the first one we did was the Springfield Cashew Chickens, because if you are from Springfield, Missouri, when people say what are from Springfield, it's like, well, we've got cashew chicken, we have Brad Pitt, Bob Barker, and now it's Johnny Morris. And, and when you talk about those things, people have always resonated that we have Springfield cashew chicken. It's served in lunch halls everywhere in schools. Like, it's a part of the fabric of our community. So when we launched our first one, it was the most natural that we could have done to engage our fan base for something they know in Springfield that they can be excited for, that they want to wear a hat for. And so Springfield Cashew Chickens was number one because it was so important to locals. When we were discussing our second alternate identity, we wanted to go a different direction, and we wanted to have it niche, and we wanted to have something that had an ability to go past just Springfield. And knowing that this is such a part of that Midwest hunting, summers, campfires, we feel we accomplished it. And when we mailed Snipe Hunters gear to 27 states the first week, we did feel like, hey, there's a lot of other people who are excited about what this can mean. And it's a different look for us entirely compared to anything else we've done. But I think the important part was that it was our second one that we wanted to be niche and broad reaching.
I have so many directions I want to take this conversation right now. There's so much fun stuff to talk about. I did cover that Cashew Chickens brand back in 2023. This is a really fun one. That was news to me, right? Like when that brand came out and I wrote it up for sportslogos.net. I did not know that Springfield, Missouri was famous for cashew chicken. That brand was created by Cardinals in-house designer TJ Patton. Was TJ involved with the Ozarks Snipe Hunters as well?
Yeah, both of our two alternate identities have been done in-house. Okay. And so, we've worked a lot of back and forth on designs, creativity. And I think for both of the designs, like, all of them are a team effort. And if one person designed it all, they would not be as good. And I think we're very proud of both identities. And I think we're also proud that we did them in-house. Doesn't mean we're not, against ever going outside, and we might, but I think these two spoke to us. And the cashew chickens to me was easy. I don't want to say low hanging fruit, but it was so obvious that needed to be our first alternate identity This one, we had a pretty big list on what we could have gone with. But ultimately, another part about why we did it and why we did it in-house was the concept of it being Ozarks.
Yeah.
This is the very first time that a jersey has not been Springfield, because it's been Springfield Cardinals, Springfield Cashew Chicken. But when you look at our team's success historically, it takes our entire region. And there's a lot of businesses that have the phrase Ozarks in their names. There's kind of a push for regionalism in this area about, hey, all of our cities are in this together. And when we came up with this identity, there was a big reason that we finally landed on it was we were excited to feature Ozarks and not just Springfield. And I've said that for years. I've been with the organization since it started. And when I would give speeches, even going back 20 years, I would tell people that if only people came from Springfield, Missouri, we wouldn't be in existence. We don't have the size of a city, that the only reason we can have a Double-A baseball team here is because our entire region supports it. So for me, it was very meaningful to be Ozarks Snipe Hunters.
Well, you anticipated my question about that. That was one of the directions I was going to go with this, was to ask that the Ozarks, how would you define that region? What does it encompass?
There's a Ozark mountain range, and there's a lot of different ways this can go. And man, we sure did go down the rabbit hole on all kinds of websites trying to say that. But where it started, there's an Ozark mountain range. And so there's an Ozarks mountains. They're not that mountainous. It's really kind of like huge glorified hills. But really, I think when people think of the Ozarks, it is that outdoors, trees, camping, lakes. And the official region of the Ozarks is really Southwest Missouri, a little bit of northern Arkansas, a little bit of Kansas. And when you really take that part of the country right there, it's just defined by natural beauty, by greenery. And that's when people think about going to the Ozarks. And as they've done a lot of market research about it, what was interesting is that in such a fast-paced world, that has a great connotation to a lot of people nationally, is the concept of the Ozarks is slowing down, being one in tune with nature. Now, there's some people who, Ozarks, it also might be like, oh, it's hillbilly. And really, I think our area, some people beat themselves up more because nationally as a brand, Ozarks is wonderful. And so many more people are wanting to be outdoors and be around greenery and slow down their pace of life. And so overall, Ozarks is wonderful. But to me, when you think of it, it is Springfield, Missouri, Branson, Missouri, and all the green communities all around us.
So I have never seen a game in Springfield. I have been to the ballpark, though. I visited once when I was in town during the off season, and I reached out to the team and just said, "Hey, I write about minor league baseball. I'm in town. I love minor league baseball. Would love to check it out." You guys were installing a brand new gigantic scoreboard in the outfield, so that may help you get a sense for what year I'm talking about here.
But it was 12 years ago.
I was going to say it felt like 8 or 10 years ago. So 12 years ago, that's about right. So it's a beautiful ballpark. And as you mentioned, Springfield's a great town, and then the surrounding area is really quite pretty. The logo itself, the brand itself, really doubles down on, I guess, pine forest, right? Pine barren forests that are there. Cool sort of, dark gray with stars. One star in particular has like a little crown on it or something. There's something going on with one of the stars that's different from the other stars. What's going on with that star?
With the star, great observation. So a few years ago, a group of residents in Springfield, Missouri made a really big push to adopt a new Springfield city flag. And they worked really hard to come up with this design, coloring, everything had meaning. And what they came up with, part of that design is the star you're mentioning, is that it's a crown compass within the flag logo. And when they have that crown, it's to symbolize being the Queen City of the Ozarks. And so really it's got a dual meaning, is that we are in Springfield. This is where our stadium is. This is where Route 66 Stadium is in Springfield, Missouri. But we are the Queen City of the Ozarks. And I think that by us, the way that we tried to visualize nature was to really, we wanted both. We are proud of being, we are in Springfield, Missouri. If someone comes to a game, they're coming to Springfield, Missouri, Route 66 Stadium. but it's in the Ozarks. And I think that's kind of the duality of the meaning. But it's one that we've been utilizing on our Springfield cashew chickens by changing around the coloring and trying to do it, because I think we do want to make sure that we're connecting with the residents of Springfield. And with specifically with this brand of Ozarks Snipe Hunters, it's Springfield, but it's because we are the Queen City of the Ozarks. And so really we're having our cake and eating it too by being a city and a region at the same time. But really the way that you mentioned the trees, it's kind of a night scene. And when you have that night scene, you can't exactly tell what the trees are. So we were kind of okay with that abstract. There's wavy lines. They look a little bit different. And when you do drive through the hills, you see all kinds of greenery, and different parts will have some that are more pine based. Some you might see a lot of oaks, but really it was that abstract. The sun's going down. It's time to go for our snipe hunt now that the sun is setting a little bit.
Well, and you've got this whole scene on the jersey that you're wearing. You've got the crescent moon, and you've got a lot of little stars, and you've got the trees there. So it's the jersey has the full effect of that nighttime sky, and it's not just the logo; it's the full scene there on the jersey. Before I ask this question, Uncle Clyde. I'm looking at the logo. I'm looking at Uncle Clyde. I'm gonna turn my head a little bit, and I'm gonna ask you.
I don't quite see it, but
No,
I
it's not me.
appreciate you trying it. It is not you. We did joke that we used to have a former staff person here that kind of had some of the similarities with the beard and the facial structure. But he is just a generic Ozarks outdoorsman.
All right, I had my lawyers drawing up a cease and desist, but I guess we'll call them off that there. So
Well, thank you for not. We very much appreciate that.
I am noticing with Uncle Clyde though that he's dressed for the winter time. He's got a ski cap on, he's got a coat on. It gets cold up in the Ozarks, I guess, up in the mountains.
We have all the seasons, and
Okay.
even here, there's days where you can go from needing a heavy coat to a sweatshirt to a t-shirt and then back to that coat all in 24 hours. We've gone from a snow out on a game to the next day it was 70 degrees. So we have a lot of weather variation. But the reason we did talk about this, the reason we went with the kind of that long sleeve, does look more winter. It's actually because in the evenings, even if you're going out in early summer, it still might be chilly. And so that was kind of a part of it, is it's a nighttime scene. So he does need to be dressed a little bit for the warmth.
Awesome. Well, so you mentioned that you've done the two alternate identities, which shows, I think, a great amount of restraint, given how many alternate identities you see from other teams in minor league baseball. I would be remiss if I did not ask this question. Surely the Springfield Cardinals have noticed the number of teams going away from parent club nicknames towards unique nicknames. You've had some success with two really fun alternate identities. I know that the St. Louis Cardinals have two affiliates that are called the Cardinals, and you also have the Memphis Redbirds mixed in there too. So a lot of sort of consistency with the Major League brand. You mentioned you've been with the team since the beginning. Has there ever been a conversation? I think it's only like 8 or 9 affiliated teams are named for their parent clubs anymore. Has there ever been the conversation about adopting, one of these fun, maybe not one of these two alternate identities, but an alternate identity, a different identity for this team?
I think last year Paul Oliver made everyone discuss it. And I think when he kind of came out with that episode and said, "Hey, some of these teams, you're boring," it was a gut check for everybody. So I think it didn't matter which team you're talking about. The answer was yes. Every single one of us discussed it. We have discussed it. It would be crazy not to, especially when it becomes a national story and not just what are you deciding to do locally. And so I think with that part of it, you always have to be challenging what's best. And I will. And sometimes you ask a question where it's obviously no. Sometimes the answer is obviously yes. Sometimes the answer is let's wait and see. But I think anyone who knows me, I love change. I love change to a fault. So I will always ask these questions. And, even when we came out with Springfield Cashew Chickens, I believe, and this would take some looking into it, but at the time, the Cardinals owned Memphis, Springfield, and Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And we were really the first ones that said, we're going to go do a totally different alternate identity. Memphis kind of was able to kind of have some of the nights where they would do the throwbacks to be the chicks. But we kind of branched out and said, we're going to go and we're going to try this with Springfield Cashew Chickens. And I will tell you, I love what Palm Beach has done this year with the frozen iguanas.
Holy
I
smokes.
thought it was wonderful. When I was down at spring training this year, I absolutely bought a frozen iguanas dry fit shirt. I love to wear it when I'm coaching my kids. But I think that's the beauty of minor league baseball, is that you have to ask the questions, even if you already know the answer, because you have to keep pushing.
Yeah.
And then every one of our teams, and I described it a little bit earlier. Number one, when we did our first alternate, was connect with your community. And then number two was, how can we get this broad reach? And we're still going to be a conservative market. And we are probably not ever going to do something as crazy as some of the other clubs. And that's okay. I respect them. I think what they do is wonderful, because that's more of their community. That's not ours. I think that we're pretty conservative, and I think that's okay. I think all of us, we can all live in the same world. We can all respect what the other's doing. But ultimately, I would never claim to walk a mile in the shoes of another general manager, because I wouldn't know their market the way that they do. And, for me, I went to high school here in Springfield. This is home. I've been with the team since it started. It's a fabric of my adult lifehood. And so we are a more conservative fan base. And I think our alternate identities, while clever, they're not pushing the envelope like some of the others are doing. And we're okay with that, because we do feel that we're still representing Springfield and the Ozarks the best that we can.
You don't have an iguana that looks dead holding onto a baseball bat on its back.
I love that logo, and I love what they did. I really do love that frozen iguanas. So maybe maybe the Ozarks Uncle Clyde can go hunting for some frozen iguanas. And that seems like we could tie in a fun story with all of the different stops along the Cardinals farm system with the alternate identities.
We've never had a crossover episode of Baseball by Design, so it's that might be something to explore there. All right, Dan. Before I let you go here, there's so many little Easter eggs. There's so many details to this. Is there anything that I've missed in the logo that you can point out to our listeners?
I think for our team, getting that really fun bright green into the logo was actually very purposeful. We did look at versions of the green that were more like a deeper forest green, but what we thought of, when everything else is so outdoorsy and kind of nightscape, that we wanted to bring a little bit more vibrancy. And it served two purposes. One, it really highlighted everything really well, but two, we're excited that it kind of gives us a new color scheme to try to go after some of the younger audience. Traditional Cardinal fans, we've got a lot of red, we got a lot of navy, and we got a lot of baby blue.
Yeah.
But this new green, we think, is going to be an opportunity to start getting that younger next generation of fandom. And I think as a minor league team, you always have to make a conscious effort to maintain what you have, but also how you can grow the base. And what my 7 and 10-year-olds want to buy is very different than what I want to buy, and is very different one that their grandpa wants to buy. But we did try to bring in that bright coloring as a way to kind of cross more generations and try to bring them into the mix as well.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting, right? Because when I saw that color palette, it did jump out at me, and it reminded me of another brand that features a cryptid in the woods, the Eugene Emeralds out in Oregon, and that's one that's had some success in the ways that you're describing. So for sure, that bright green is a really important part of this identity. So, well, Dan, this is all super cool. I love it so much. This has been so much fun to chat about. Where can people go to find themselves some Snipe Hunters gear, and maybe to find some cashew chicken or Springfield Cardinals gear?
Yeah, the best way is always through the website at springfieldcardinals.com. With the new brand, obviously, we're making some other posts on Instagram and Facebook for people to see it. But going to springfieldcardinals.com is always going to be the best way to check out the online team store.
Well, I'm hoping to get to the Cardinals ballpark there sometime when it's actually during the baseball season, so I can catch a game. It's sort of a sore spot on I keep a map of stadiums that I've been to, and I only have 2 that are grayed out because I've been there, but I didn't actually see a game. So the Springfield Cardinals and the Reno Aces. I've been to the ballparks, but never seen a game. So I've got to come see a game. Enjoy an ice cream helmet. Oh, you guys going to do Snipe Hunters ice cream helmets?
We have some different foods that are designed, and so there's an interesting half hot, half brought, mystery snipe. But we also look forward to kind of growing out that brand with some of the food.
You could offer snipe meat and just sell an empty box.
Or well, mystery meat would scare everybody. Maybe we just throw bologna on something, and
There you go.
The snipe burger. You don't really know what it is, but you're gonna like it anyway.
Where I'm from, we call it scrapple.
There we go.
All right, Dan, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and best of luck with the rest of the season.
Appreciate it, Paul. You have a great one.
Baseball by Design listeners worldwide, it is my honor to introduce to you the official Baseball by Design wildlife correspondent, musical enthusiast, and national anthem extraordinaire, Ranger Amy Burnett.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Ranger Amy, Baseball by Design's wildlife correspondent. If we sound a little bit different,
Gotta keep it down.
if we sound a little bit different, it is because we are out on a snipe hunt in Fort Collins, Colorado. Ranger Amy, hello, how are you?
Hey, good. This is a lot of fun. Thanks for coming out with me
Let me
on this almost moonless night.
before we get started, in depth with the snipe hunt here.
Yeah.
This is the Springfield Cardinals alternate identity. There's a lot of sports teams called Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Have any feelings about that? Why are there so many Cardinal sports teams?
I think that they're kind of just. I think sports teams are kind of non-original,
Okay.
and I think my theory is it might have something to do with the color red, which is sort of like a fight color.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'm not really sure.
Okay.
They're cute birds, but they're not mean.
Okay. Well,
Sorry.
that's okay.
I wish I had a better answer.
Listeners of this podcast know that we have a hard and fast rule against covering teams that are named for their parent club, so we're not going to do that. We're going to talk about snipe hunting. We're out on a snipe hunt.
Yeah.
We're walking around in the dark like a couple of crazy people. But tell me,
Which has happened before on snipe hunts. Police are like, what are you doing?
Oh,
out
you
there?"
get reported. Yeah, well,
yeah,
that makes sense.
you get reported. People can report snipe hunters.
Well, so tell me about the gear that you have brought on our snipe hunt
Okay,
here.
so right here I have a burlap sack. Not so easy to come by nowadays.
Is that actually burlap?
Well, it's a fake one. but
Okay.
you can have a pillowcase. Like
It looks
that's
more like Naga hide.
Well, anyway, jeez, Paul.
The number of Nagas that died for that thing.
But you can use a pillowcase if you don't have a burlap sack. Anything that is breathable, because you gotta, you don't want to. You want to be able to have them breathe, right?
Okay.
They need to be breathable.
Okay.
So you have your burlap sack or your pillowcase,
Okay.
and you have a flashlight.
All right.
So you have to be really, really quiet, and you sneak up on the snipe.
Okay.
Now, a snipe
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's a snipe?
is a furry, cute little animal.
Okay. I feel like I should have been alerted to what these were before we set out on this adventure.
Yeah, you have to know what a snipe is, and they're really cute, and you want to catch them in a sack. So you have to be really quiet until you're ready to find a snipe, and then you make a lot of noise. You could scratch with a stick. Okay, so I've got a stick right here.
Okay.
So I'm gonna scratch the ground,
Okay.
and then say, snipe, 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 snipe. And that apparently
You yell snipe?
you yell snipe.
And that draws the snipes?
Here's snipe. That's what I was taught.
Okay.
And then you hold open this bag. All right, so stop
Okay.
walking right now, and we're gonna look. Do you hear anything? Do you hear any snipe?
Some wind. There's a little bit of wind.
Okay, so you don't hear any snipe.
What am I listening for? What's
So
the
you're
snipe
gonna-
sound like?
You just hear rustling in the bushes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so
I hear a lot of that because of the wind.
Okay, so hold open this bag.
Okay.
It's a good night to do this because you want almost moonless night or a moonless
Okay,
night.
yeah, it's dark.
So hold open this bag.
Got it.
All right, now you shine your flashlight in the bag.
Oh, okay. Nothing in there.
Okay, and that flashlight attracts the snipe.
Okay.
And so, if we're lucky, a snipe's gonna jump into the bag, and then you close up the bag.
It just jumps right in the
Just
bag?
jumps in the bag.
Dumbasses.
Wait a minute.
All right.
You're calling them dumbasses?
Yeah, they just jump right in the bag
You're the one walking around with me in the middle,
with this Naga hide bag and a flashlight.
looking for something that doesn't exist.
All right. So what do you mean it doesn't exist? So we're in Fort Collins, Colorado as we're recording this right now. What's the range of the snipe?
So we're looking for the North American snipe, and those tend to be around here. Let's turn to the right. I think I hear something rustling in the bushes over here.
Here we go.
So-
Now we're on a path.
Okay. So back in the day, Boy Scout camps used to be great places to look for snipes, and more recently, Girl Scout camps or just the scouts. And did you know that you know when they started snipe hunting? How long ago do you think they started?
So it's not fair to ask me that question because I covered this team for sportslogos.net, and I happen to know that it's been around for decades and decades, even a century and such.
Yeah, so apparently since the 1840s, this is
Wow.
like the earliest record, and you can read about snipe hunting in folklore books. And if you want to take someone out snipe hunting, you get all that gear, you make them stand outside with a burlap sack and a flashlight, and you yell, "Here, snipe, 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 snipe," and you get ready to close that bag up when you get the snipe in there.
The logo, Uncle Clyde featured in the logo,
Yeah.
he's not holding a burlap sack at all. It just looks like a regular like white pillowcase that he took from a Holiday Inn.
Yeah, that's because people don't really know what a burlap sack is nowadays. And to be honest, you can use a pillowcase, it's fine.
Okay, so you got a pillowcase and a flashlight and a stick.
You were saying that he looks like you, but I think he looks like Paul Bunyan. So unless you look like Paul Bunyan, sorry, you're not that tall. For the listeners,
you can't tell how tall he is in that logo. It's like having a Zoom meeting with someone. You don't know how tall they are.
Paul Bunyan.
No. Oh, I see. I don't know. Maybe I just feel like.
Oh, did you hear that? Get your pillowcase ready.
All right, so pillowcase is ready.
Okay, shine your flashlight.
So now the premise of this snipe hunt is, so far as I can tell, grown-ups are at a campsite. They want some peace and quiet, and for now 160 plus years, grown-ups have been sending children off on snipe hunts in order to get some peace and quiet at the campsite.
I think it's a good theory, but it used to be people would take their peers out on a snipe hunt, or either take or send their peers out on a snipe hunt.
Okay.
So it would be like Boy Scouts taking other Boy Scouts out on a snipe hunt.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
teenagers at a camp with nothing to do taking their friends out, and then just laughing to see how long they would sit out there waiting for the snipe to jump into.
But isn't the
sacks.
joke also on them if they're out there with them?
Well, they have to start with them.
Okay.
But they're already at a camp.
Yeah.
So they're already at a camp. So they're already outside. So now
Okay.
they just have to convince them to sort of wander off in the woods.
Okay. All right. So I asked you about the range of the snipe. What? So we're in Fort Collins, and obviously they're here. What is the range of the mythical snipe?
And the range is North America. However, oh, did you hear that? I think that was a snipe. So the fun thing is, though, this is not limited to North America. So apparently in France, they have a tradition they call hunting the dahu.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
I don't know either. I've not heard that word.
So that is a mythical goat-like animal
Okay.
that supposedly is found in mountainous regions
Okay.
in Europe. And so if you were hunting the dahu, it was the same thing with the bag. They would go out with bags as well, looking to get this goat to jump in the bag.
In a pillowcase.
Yep. And
Okay.
before flashlights, they actually used matches. I don't know how they didn't start forest fires, but maybe things weren't as dry back then.
A goat sounds bigger to me than what I'm picturing. And then the logo,
They must be like mini goats or really big bags.
in the logo, you can see that there's some eyes peering out from between the letters.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's definitely some eyes in
And we
the
didn't even
darkness.
talk about what it looked like.
Yeah. What does it look like?
Yeah, so
I feel like I
was
should have
told-
known this before I set out on a snipe hunt.
So my experience being told about snipe hunting from my dad, he
Yeah.
was supposed to take me out snipe hunting, but for some reason it never happened, but he told us about it a lot.
Okay.
I said, okay, we got to get our burlap sacks, our flashlights, and then the reason we want to catch these cute little guys are because they're fuzzy and soft and little and cute, like Furbies or like Mugwais,
Mogwais like gremlins?
like before they turn into gremlins.
It sounds like the cruelest possible thing to have happened to a young Ranger Amy, to be told that we are going to go find some cute fuzzy animals and they were never real.
Yeah, I think I was disappointed that we
Sure.
never went out snipe hunting. I'm gonna have to talk to my dad about that.
Yeah, for real.
Maybe I'm gonna have to get him one of these. Is there a hat that I can get?
There's absolutely a hat from
And
the
then I can
from the
say,
Springfield Cardinals
"Dad,
here. Yeah.
You never took me out snipe hunting, and I've been in therapy for it. But
But here's this hat that looks like my boyfriend.
But I'm off track again. You asked what's the range.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
so
that's right.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to me to think about the fact that North America we have the snipe, and over in Europe they have the dahu.
Yeah.
And in Portugal and Spain they have another similar folktale, and everybody talks about catching this animal, a mythical animal, in a bag with a flashlight. So it's pretty darn cool to me that everybody has that sort of tale, and it's sort of like mild hazing, yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like once you've gone on a snipe hunt, you can be sort of like in the know, and then you can tell other people about going on a snipe hunt, and then hopefully everybody laughs and has a good time, and it's a way to pass the time.
Well, what that tells me is that for many decades, across many cultures, grown-ups have wanted to get rid of children at the campsite for 15 to 20 minutes at a time.
15 to 20 minutes?
Or whatever.
Is that all?
I just figure after that, then it starts getting dangerous. Then you've just sent children into the woods
I wonder
unsupervised.
how many people have actually gotten lost going out on a snipe hunt.
Yeah.
And here's a funny thing. It's said that that's possibly where the phrase left holding the bag comes from. Because people would leave people holding this bag open, shining their flashlight in, hoping to get these snipe to jump in the bag.
There's one.
There's a bunny.
Oh, that's a bunny. Well, Ranger
Jump in
Amy,
our bag, bunny.
I was kind of hoping that you might convince me at some point that this was something other than just coordinated bullying and
Well,
practical joking.
I don't know, maybe it's bullying
funny.
light. It's fun.
It's funny and it's fun. Ranger Amy, thanks so much for taking me out on a snipe hunt. I appreciate it. This has been Ranger Amy? Hello? Hey! What the hell? All right, well, that was Baseball by Design's wildlife correspondent, Ranger Amy. I'm standing here in the dark by myself right now.
Deep within the recesses of his secret headquarters, somewhere in Louisville, Kentucky, sits Dan Simon. By day, Dan is the owner of Studio Simon, but by night, he tries to stump one Paul Caputo. This is Studio Simon Stumpers.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Here is noted designer Dan Simon of Studio Simon, the firm responsible for so many great minor league baseball logos. Dan is here, as he is every single week, with a Studio Simon Stumper, a trivia question that Dan crafts specially for Baseball by Design to see if I will be stumped, not trying to stump me, but seeing if I will be stumped by this question.
I would phrase that, seeing if you will emerge victorious.
Oh, I see. Yeah, the whole glass half full situation.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
okay. So this episode, of course, is about the Springfield Cardinals alternate identity, the Ozarks Snipe Hunters. And I am not going the Snipe Hunters route with regard to this question. I'm going the Springfield route because that is where the Springfield Cardinals are from. There is apparently a common myth that there is a Springfield in all 50 states. Apparently, that is not true.
Okay.
So our Studio Simon Stumper today asks, what is the actual number? Is it 20? Is it 34? Or is it 48?
34.
That was the quickest you've ever responded. Now, I rarely tell you right away if you're right or wrong, and I'm going to continue with that right now. What made you so certain?
Because we had this question about another, it was a different city name. It was another stumper where there was a city name and we did how many of them are there. I don't remember what city we were talking about with that stumper. And when you asked the question, the number 32 jumped into my head. I thought the answer to this question is 32. There's 32 Springfields. And I was waiting for that to be one of the multiple choice options. And when it wasn't, I decided to go with the closest one. So I don't know if my supreme confidence actually translates into correctness, but that's the world we live in, Dan. You don't have to be correct if you're super confident.
And sometimes when you're super confident, you are incorrect.
Yeah.
That's not the case here.
Oh, good.
You nailed it, and you nailed it quickly. Now, by the way, speaking of cities in multiple states, I think we've mentioned this on this podcast before. I am from Wayne, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Paul, you are from Wayne, Pennsylvania. And I can say, even though I don't know for certain, if I were a betting man, I'd bet the farm on the fact that there were even more Waynes out there.
Yeah.
And so, it's not uncommon to have multiple cities in multiple states. This is where this question kind of got muddied a little bit. Not the question, just the whole concept, because I mentioned cities.
Yeah.
When I asked the question, I did not refer to Springfield as a city. I just said there is a myth that there is a Springfield in all 50 states. Here's why I say it gets muddy. Because there are cities, there are towns, there are townships, and then I saw like another category, like populated areas. And then I even saw neighborhoods and things like that. So it comes into question exactly, depending on where you're going for your information, how they're categorizing things. So that all being said, whichever source I went to, whatever categorization they used to determine there were 34 Springfields, the real champ is Riverside, which you will find in 46 states.
Wow.
Isn't that a surprising number?
That is surprising.
So that means there's 4 states it's not in. Let's see you just take a wild guess. Can you name just one of the states that doesn't have a riverside? And I think one of these should be obvious.
Like a state that doesn't have a river in it. What about Hawaii? Does Hawaii have a riverside?
No, they do not. That's the one I thought would be the most obvious. There's no riverside in Alaska, Hawaii, Louisiana, or Oklahoma.
Louisiana? Wow. That's shocking.
That doesn't mean they don't have rivers.
No, I know, but
they don't have a city, town, whatever.
I Googled it while we were talking, Dan, and I do see this 46 riversides here, 43 Centervilles, but I see 21 towns called Wayne in the United States.
And I would imagine most of them are on the East Coast because that's where both of our towns were named after General Mad Anthony Wayne.
That's right.
Who, we're talking about an American Revolution era individual.
That's why in Fort Wayne, Indiana, the basketball team was the Fort Wayne Mad Ants.
There you go.
Yeah. Dan, I have one more question about this for you. Getting back to Springfields, do you buy into there is a Springfield that is meant to be the Springfield where the Simpsons are from, like a specific Springfield, or do you think it's just an amalgam of all the Springfields? I know what the leading theory is. There's a prevailing theory about this.
That actually is something that I read about when I was doing my research for this. And here's my understanding. The theory is that it's named after a Springfield in Oregon, which is where Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, I guess was born or grew up or was from. But also, one of the other things I read is that he chose, even though it might have been based on this town in Springfield, he chose that name because he wanted the city that the Simpsons lived in to seem like it could have been anywhere in the United States. And with all of the Springfields in the United States, that theory also makes a bit of sense.
The only other thing I was going to mention before we got out of here is the episode that I think where we discussed the number of a certain city or town in the United States was Greenville. I think it was when we were talking about the Greenville Drive, and you asked me how many Greenvilles there were.
How did you call that up so quickly?
I went to the old spreadsheet, Dan. I love my Baseball by Design spreadsheet. I'd be devastated if anything ever happened to it, where I have cataloged every single episode number, the publishing date, and the guests who were on those episodes. I can tell you what date we recorded and published every single stumper you've ever done based on this spreadsheet.
How did you, your spreadsheet doesn't say anything about the stumpers.
No, it doesn't.
So
no,
how did you determine that was the episode?
I'm still waiting for that intern to catalog my record for of all of my stumpers. I scrolled, Dan. I just did a little bit of scrolling. I thought it would maybe jump out at me. And when I saw Greenville, I remembered that that's what it was.
Well, good for you, because I have no recollection of that whatsoever. Even now that you're telling me, it's not like, oh, yeah, I remember that.
Well, this was October of 2025, Dan. We've been through a lot since then.
Sure have.
That was episode 201. And as you know, Dan, we've got the 200th Stumper. The Bi-Stump-Tennial, I think, is coming up in a few months. And then we're not that far away. This episode that we're recording right now is episode 239, which puts us 11 episodes away from the semi-quincent episode number 250.
Okay. As you know what, I was just listening to an episode. I'm a little behind on my listening to Baseball by Design podcast episodes due to a couple of infirmities I have experienced. And I was listening to an episode, not from all that long ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, where you talked about that name for that episode and then the similar name for my 200th Stumper. So we talked about this before. Here we are talking about it again. And who knows? Tune in next week. Maybe we'll talk about it again.
Dan, there are people who are way further behind than you are right now. There's actually someone right now listening to this episode in the year 2029.
Well, that's a good thing. It's still around in 3 years, and and you are still relevant.
Well, hello from 2026, 2029 listeners. All right, Dan. We'll see you next week.
Okay, see ya.